Welcome back, guys. I'm Nakai Vodar,
And I am Drakel Studios.
and we're here today to answer some questions from you guys from Discord, YouTube, and Twitter. So, without further ado, let's begin. Ultraman ZX asks, if you could have your own Sangheili based game, what kind of game genre would you want it to be? And what era or conflict do you want to be focused on? So, I think my personal preference would be or RPG or a first-person shooter as we're more accustomed to. And as in terms of era or conflict, my personal preference would be based on the War of Beginnings, the conflict that began the Covenant.
In terms of myself, I'd agree with you, Nakai, on the genre of either first-person RPG or first-person shooter, just because those are fun genres to explore, and a Halo RPG would be a godsend. I can only homebrew so many tabletop games. But on top of that, I'd have to say, in terms of era, I'd agree on the War of Beginnings. I'd also like to see something based on the Taming of the Hunters. It's just because that period is very intriguing. It's sort of the Covenant still on its early feet, plus seeing the different forms that the Lekgolo could take. Our next question comes from Vien Quintom, and he asks, do you prefer Sangheili hooves or Reach-styled toes? Definitely a weird question, but oh well. In all honesty, I do like the toe-based thing just because hooves doesn't seem right for a reptile.
In my personal preference, I would prefer the classic style hooves, like we have with H2A or with the post-war era designs. I don't know. Those designs are honestly my personal preference, honestly, in terms of feet design, rather than the toe bit based on Reach's design. Kiva Murunai asks, here's a different one. What are your favorite characters from the UNSC side of Halo? And what's your favorite Spartan armor and why? My personal favorite UNSC character has to be Olympia Vale, simply because she's pretty much like me. She's very interested in the Sangheili side, and she's very fluent in Sangheili tongue, as well as interested in Sangheili lore. And as to my favorite Spartan armor design, it would have to be the Helios style armor from Halo 5. Simply because, well,
Yes.
it takes inspiration from St. Helios.
In terms of UNSC character, I do like Olympia Vale, plus also she's voice acted by Laura Bailey. Can never go wrong with Laura Bailey. But if I had to choose a UNSC-based person, it's definitely up there with Dr. Halsey. Again, Halsey I like because of the moral quandary and the intrigue of, like, is this morally right to make the Spartans? My own preferences towards scientists. The glory of science must not be contained. And she's definitely been wronged in the recent years, and so she kind of deserves, like, hey, no, you get a little bit of like from me. No, in terms of favorite armor, I'd have to agree with Helios Skrull being #1 favorite. But if I have to follow up close, I like the Taishin armor from Halo 5. The one with the kind of weird EVA blah thing. Like, I'll admit I like that, along with like the base armor itself has those cool spikes on the forearms. And in terms of classic armor, I also enjoy the EVA.
Shockwave asks, what is your favorite Covenant weapon? For me, it has to be the Energy Sword because it's such an iconic weapon. I love the different designs throughout the years, especially with Halo 5, with Prophet's Bane, Vorpal, Talon, and honestly, I just love slashing Covenant and Spartans in campaign multiplayer, respectively. Honestly, because that swoosh, oh, love that swoosh.
But yeah, following up on that, like I definitely love the Energy Sword as well. Again, it's iconic, it's classic. Another weapon that I do enjoy over the years is the straight up the Needler. Like, that was my first video I got really Super Mario on with the Blamite stuff, but I do love the Needler just because it's so alien, and those cool crystals and just the satisfaction you get with a Super Combine. But this question is from Lambda Fallout 125, and they ask, what is your favorite classification of UNSC ship? Um, I honestly don't know too many of the human ships. Again, I'm a Covenant nerd. Don't quote me on human vessels. But if I had to choose, I I do quite like the Oni Prowlers. Like I'm not sure if that counts as a full-on ship. If that doesn't count, then I'd have to say the heavy frigates, like the Ford and Zidane. I can't remember their name. I am so sorry, UNSC nerds. Don't at me. But yeah, it's between the Prowler and the frigate, just because the frigate, it's classic, it's easily rememberable, and I'm not going to choose the Infinity. Sorry, I'm not going to be. I'm not going to. Oh yes, I like the biggest, baddest ship. Yes.
So for my favorite class of UNSC ship, Halcyon class, or more specifically, the Pillar of Autumn. That ship has always been an iconic ship within the Halo universe, and I liked its the Autumn class successor in the post-war era. JCB112 asks, what aspect of lore do you wish to explore further? Also, in terms of what normal life on St. Helios is like, and would you say that there is a typical everyman St. in that era? In regards to the first question, I would say the one era I really wish to explore is the era after the War beginnings, and after the Covenant was formed. We did a little bit of that during Halo Broken Circle, but I want to see more of the political and social implication that it has on the St. Healy and Sanchayun side. And to the second question, a normal life on St. Helios would probably be something similar to how Greeks used to live. Like, everyday life would be pretty much similar to how it is on ancient Earth, but it'd be more advanced, obviously, and it would put more emphasis on military prowess nowadays. And to the final question, I would say that the everyday St. Healy would want to aspire to be a soldier nowadays, though there are farmers on St. Helios and other colonies.
Uh, for me, it's in asking of what aspect of the lore do you wish explored, I'd straight up say I'd love to know more about the scientific development of the Sangheili. Shocker, I know. Oh, but in all seriousness, like I want to see how they developed technology, how they developed medicine. I know like medicine was a huge part of their culture, but I want to see how they developed the technology that they had throughout the years of the Covenant and in the post-war era. And then, yeah, I'd agree with Nakai on that front. Very, very Greco-Roman style feudalism with the advances of technology. Yeah, but overall, yeah, that's sort of minimalist. It looks like Sangheili are very minimalistic.
Vrox Etterburn asks, what is your opinion on the Silent Shadow, and how could they fit into new stories in future media? I love the Silent Shadow. Those guys pretty much are the assassins of the Covenant, the secret police. Those who take down officers that the prophets want to get rid of. And I would love to see how the Silent Shadow continue to operate in post-war era, aside from the group that defected to Atriox and the Banished. What they did prior to the Covenant War, what they were up to during the Ungoi Rebellion, during the shift of power between the old guard and the new guard in regards to the rise of truth, mercy, and regret.
Yeah, in terms of your question, Vrox Eberron, I see the name you're referencing. But in all honesty, I do quite like the Silent Shadow. It shows, again, that intelligence, that willingness to break tradition a little bit. I'd say in future stories, I'd love to see how the Arbiter would use them, like, especially like considering their old role as the Cobalt Soul Monk style takedown from inside, from Orders on High. The final question from Discord comes from our own Eric Doom. Love you, man. Dear Zukamari Drakel, why is your ship constantly on fire? Well, see here. Science is a very complicated matter. Sometimes you have to further out some more of your experiments. And unfortunately, one of my crewmates by the name of Ross Churul He's very curious about the ways of science, alongside Jub Jub and Mizao and many others in Vodar are very curious about the Blade of Wisdom as a result. And my own negligence sometimes leads to an accidental explosion.
All right, so now we're going to shift to the YouTube questions. I'll start with Adeline Laver. I apologize if I botched that name. What the armor set was worn by the Heretic Elites and Grunts in Halo 2. Those armors are worn by Elites and Grunts that are sent to hazardous worlds to collect Forerunner relics, like Sessa Refumi's group.
And spoiler warning, if you want to learn more about some fantastic armor sets, you can check out the video that we made last year of the Covenant combat harnesses. Maybe that's something you should play right over here. Parker Parrish asks, we need more amazing Sangheili characters. Yeah, we do!
Yeah, we need more Sangheili characters in the future. I need more content to put on for this channel.
I need more scientists, damn it!
Enclave Harridan asks, could the UNSC Infinity take on a CSO class supercarrier? So, I don't think so. I don't think the UNSC Infinity could take on a CSO because in the past, the Infinity has been literally taken into a gravity well. It was almost boarded by Covenant and Prometheans during the Battle of Requiem. It was nearly taken down by a small Covenant fleet in Escalation, and it was crippled by a simple Covenant battle station. So, if it was taking on a CSO class supercarrier, it would put up a good fight. Beating it? No. I don't think it could beat a CSO. It could give it some serious punishment, but it wouldn't be long until the CSO would take it down.
Yes, and then size doesn't always matter. Okay, look, I'm just delaying the inevitable. Well, I do think that it would be a close fight, but the CSO would win. If both had support fleets, maybe the Infinity has like a 1 in 10 chance of winning. But the problem is that means also the CSO has a support fleet as well. With a fleet, maybe, but highly unlikely.
Mr. Lion asks, can I eat your cheeks? No, you may not.
Nakai, I need to borrow your ship in a small fleet. This needs to be eradicated. You're going to be glassed as a heretic. I am very sorry for your situation.
Okay, so now we're going to shift our attention to our Twitter questions, which are only 2, unfortunately. So Sarah Welsh asks, your original character has been through many battles. What's the worst he has gotten hurt? I would say it would have to be during the Battle of Kolo, where he pretty much hand-to-hand combat with a few ODSTs and took a blade to his right face, which pretty much left a scar. And ever since then, he's had that scar ever since.
Well, gee, that sounds like an awful injury. Tell me though, does he still have all his limbs attached? But yeah, with Zukumari, when he first came into Vodar, and was with a human party, scientists trying to research more of the Sangheili culture, and as they were out there, they were ambushed by Covenant forces, proclaiming the humans as filth that should never touch their holy world. Zukumari called out during the battle to try and, anyone who could hear him over the radio, and during the battle, as he fought to protect the humans, along with his own scientific team, he lost his arm to a zealot named Mruk Drantaki. But were it not for Nakai Vodar and Major Thesk Daram, Zukumari would have bled out in the snow and died. And now, as a constant reminder of that battle, he has the majestic crimson mechanical arm, known as Reckoning.
Alright, Irish Gamer wants to know, what do you think is going to happen to the Arbiter's Swords of Sanghelios in Halo Infinite? Realistically, I believe that they're going to be fighting their own fight on Sanghelios and defending their own colonies from the Created. I see the possibility of them being on Zeta Halo very unlikely at this point.
Personally, for me, I definitely see the Swords of Sanghelios being more of a support role in the story. They'd definitely be in the background more like, okay, you guys go take care of Cortana at Zeta Halo. We'll be able to try and hold the line along these different points. We'll be able to try and slow their advance. And they're definitely going to be the more support role. They're going to be the medic of the story.
Okay, so that does it for our Q&A session. If you guys want more questions answered, please drop a question down in the comments below. And if you like what you see, please hit the like and subscribe button. And until then, this is Nakai Vodar.
And this is Draco Studios.
Signing off.